Are you fueling your OCD? We're going to talk all about it. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist. I make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And today I want to talk about OCD, and in particular I want to talk about compulsions. OCD compulsions are fuel to OCD. And when we do the compulsions, we fuel our OCD and we make it grow. It's very, very simple. It's not rocket science. We talked about this in a previous video that to resist those compulsions, that's the hard part. But the way to crush OCD is not rocket science. And so if you just understand that OCD is a problem and it grows with fuel, and the only fuel that you can give it OCD are the compulsions. And so if you want to reduce OCD, you have to cut the fuel line. And the fuel line is what you're doing to feed your OCD. OCD is not just randomly growing. It's growing because you are pumping in fuel to let it run and grow bigger with the compulsions. So the first step is to recognize, what are the compulsions I'm doing? It may seem kind of obvious, but actually for a lot of people it's not, because OCD compulsions can be mental compulsions. I have a video all on mental compulsions and what those are and how you handle them. You can see that over here. I have a video on what accommodations are, right? Because sometimes your parent or your loved one or your partner even is part of growing your OCD, because they have to complete the loop, right? In order for the compulsion to be complete. So maybe you have to say something and they have to say something back in a certain way, and then that compulsion is done. That's a compulsion. Maybe you have to say something to your parent or your loved one. So understanding accommodations is the second part. And then realizing that avoidance can be an OCD compulsion as well. So avoidance, like I can't touch red cups, or I can't touch doorknobs, or I can't say this particular word or hear this particular word. Those are avoidances, and those are just as much compulsions as anything else. So once you understand and educate yourself on the physical, mental compulsions and the avoidance that's a compulsion and the accommodations that are a compulsion, you now have a list of all the things that are fuel. Those are fuel, right? Think of them like logs on a fire. That's fuel. And you want to reduce those. And the idea of reducing them is really hard. And so the work happens with OCD on identifying your compulsions and slowly building up your muscles for handling the discomfort of not scratching that itch, of not giving in and pumping that fuel line to OCD so it can grow bigger. And so if you have that visualization of, every time I do a compulsion, I'm just seeing all that fuel go down, and then OCD is like revving up. It's like, you're giving me more fuel. Thank you for that. So the goal is to take it one step at a time, develop a way to recognize when your compulsions are happening, which sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. It becomes kind of a habit. And then slowly and systematically pull back your accommodations. I know that's easier said than done. I get that. But that's the only way you are going to get relief from OCD, is interrupting that fuel line. Cut off that fuel line. As long as that fuel line still exists, so does your OCD. So if you want a smaller OCD, you need to cut the fuel back, right? So it's not all or none. Can I cut the fuel back, right? What would happen if you put just a little bit of fuel in your car? It wouldn't get very far, right? But if you are pumping a full tank into your car every 5 minutes, your car can go and drive miles and miles and miles, right? Without having to worry about it. How much gas are you putting in OCD's fuel tank? Do you want it to run that strong and that loud and that distance? Or do you want it to putter, stutter, and poop out? So think about that and consider cutting the fuel line in half, or pulling back on some of the accommodations so that you can start to build your resistance. You can learn how to sit with discomfort. And over time, you're going to get more and more OCD relief because it's not growing bigger. You're able to handle the discomfort that OCD wants to throw at you because you're like, yeah, I'm not giving you any more fuel. So you can bother me all day long, but I'm not giving you the fuel. So it's a different way of thinking about OCD. I hope that you find the sparkle in everything you do, and I'll be back next Thursday with a new topic. Take care.